All right, now we talk about the Pillar Man. I made the joke when I was summoning for Lilith that my little brother cursed me. Um, but in that same multi, I got three Pillar Men, and my little brother's the one that got me into watching JoJo's. So yeah, like I was salty about the pity for Lilith, but seeing the three Pillar Men in the multi with Darius the Third, it was just funny to me. But yeah, actual Pillar Man. This guy's holding a giant ass thing here. Like the model probably is like Usugi Kenshin, where it's just like so far off, it's just annoying for the devs. 9.6k base attack, good number for a 4 star. We're not pushing anything crazy, but it's also not like super low that you're gonna regret using this character, right? It's not like Medea Lily level attack. Thank God, because this is a character that's supposed to be doing damage. And again, sorry for the congestion. I got sick again, probably by my students that do not know how to cover their mouth. Have to be around first graders is what it is. All right. So star weight. These are normal list numbers. 0.4% MP charge. Yeah, a little too low, but I'm honestly being a little too harsh. When characters have MP gain like this, it's usually based around them critting. Although, from what I remember seeing in this kit, he does not have the most access to critting. So, this is something you kind of have to be aware of, especially with the MP. Like, his refund is not going to be super great. Zenobia has similar refund numbers. She has 0.47 with a 4 hit arts MP. So, I don't want to be too specific on how good this feels or how good it doesn't. I unfortunately didn't get that much time to him out. I've been more focused on getting Lilith and John done than testing out King Ahsoka. But on base, this is slightly below what other characters of this hit count would have. But maybe his skills make up for it more than Zenobia's do. So, oh yeah, hit count. So 4 hits on quick, 4 hits on arts, 3 hits on buster, 5 hit extra attack. That's why I was saying like other characters have like similar hit counts, but they have a little bit higher gain. Uh, he like in the grand scheme of things, it's like 0.07, but you also have to consider this is zero point 0.4. 0.07 when you're at zero point 0.4 is almost like a 20% reduction or from sorry from zero point 0.4 to 0.47 it's almost a 20% increase. It's proportionally a little smaller, but that's just how like fractions work. uh, I don't want to get into the full math lesson because you guys are not my students. If I have to teach you math, do I really have to teach people elementary math? Let's move on. All right, first skill, 20% arts, 20% buster, 20% MP damage, but this is for the party. I strongly considered keeping this guy as like an esports unit, and then I'm like, I could probably do a lot better with esports than just this. Like, is this nice? Yes. This is very nice for multicore. If you have him wave clearing, like a 3-1-1, like this works pretty fine. Uh, Turn 2, the buster, like the other character, can just crit or MP spam. Uh, and then if it's not a 3-1-1, it's like a 3-1-3. You'll have another turn for this character to get back to his MP. Second skill, 30% attack, 30% crit damage, and I really like this on attack buff. Whenever he attacks, it's not even saying normal attacks. He puts a buff block on the enemy. One time, one turn. So this means that the enemy is probably going. If you're fighting 3 enemies, they're probably all gonna try to get rid of the buff block. In which case, they waste their turn. This also means if you are in like a harder fight, you don't need to sorry. Um you just have to hit an enemy once and they're going to waste at least one turn. Now, you cannot stack buff block. You cannot stack this up multiple times, so the enemy can like literally not take action for a turn if you're fighting one enemy. Uh, they're just like buff block does not stack. You can only have one instance of it. From my understanding, the first instance stops any further. So yeah, like you're not gonna be like it's not something crazy like a full turn of buff block on all enemies. I think that would be a little too much. But like in a situation where like the enemy is just spawning trash mobs or like not even trash mobs, honestly. Like if you're fighting three servants and they're not dying instantly, this is gonna come up more times because the servants are tankier. They're not gonna die like instantly. So like they might stick around for them to actually like waste actions and you just not take damage. This is definitely has no place in farming whatsoever. You should not be worried about buff blocking trash bombs. That just sounds stupid. Why would you? What is a dead trash mob gonna do with buff block? Third skill, 30% battery, 15 stars per turn, party crit debuff res 30%, and then party crit res 30%. This stops you from taking straight crits. This stops you from taking debuffs, and he gets 15 stars per turn. So not a lot of crit synergy, but he does have some crit synergy for the party too. All these effects help the whole party, even the stars per turn. They're not just for him. And again, works pretty good in a situation where it's 3-1-1. You actually have the time for these stars per turn to actually work. Would it be better if he had an actual star bomb? Yes, but this is also an art servant, so like yes, they get star bombs, but not that often. It's usually one or the other. It's not often you get both. It does happen you get both star bombs and star per turn on one skill. But yeah, that is not super common. All right, passives. A ruler passive. What? Okay, hold up. 20% debuff res. So innately he has 50% when he has this up. Funny that literally just makes it so he can always get tagged by Lilith, but if he gets any more, she won't be able to guarantee it. True name discernment. So I played through the story chapter, and I don't feel bad about talking about story fights now. King Ashoka, when he shows up in the story, is always a lancer, but in the fight, he does have like a ruler's classification in terms of class advantage. Am interested to see where this what this presence is here, but it's 10% MP damage resistance against servants. So when the enemy is gonna hit you with an MP, he takes 10% less damage from it. I believe this is the first time we have ever seen this on the player's side, having MP damage resistance. Um, Now, here's the thing. He does not have a guts. He does not have hard survivability. So he's arts. Most of the time, he's either going to get invuled or solemn defensed, aka not taking damage. Now, in the case he does not have that, or you're using Tamamo, yeah, this works fine. If you're not going to be putting up solemn defense, then taking less damage from an MP is good. It might save his life. But you cannot be relying on this. Do not rely on 10% less damage. That's not going to save you. Now, if it was like 20 or 30, that is at a point where, okay, yeah, no, you can start face taking MPs. Because, for example, an MP that is like 16 hits for 16,000, a 30% reduction, sorry, that, again, it's harder to discern the words with my nose like this. But that takes it from 1,600 to, I believe, 11,200. Yes, because 4,800. Subtract that from 16,000. And that is more HP, or that is less HP than someone at full HP. So at a 30%, you would start seeing like lower HP servants start face taking MPs. In fact, for this character, could face take an MP doing 16k if the passive was, again, if this was 30. But 10%, he would need like 14. He would need 14,000. He would need 14,400 HP to be able to face take that at this point. Moving on for the math, just divinity for tickle. Peds, we have meta loading, skill reloading, and anti berserker. This is what I would look at. So 1, 2, 3. Before looking at over here, do you need the extra attack for him? I would say not. He's not a big, like, he doesn't have a lot of crit buffs. Even his car buffs are AoE. He does have a little bit of crit damage, but not a lot that you'd actually be picking him to do DPS over a single target. So for him, I would probably avoid extra attack. MP. 4-hit AoE arts. Again, why I'm bringing up the Zenobia comparison. Power mod against evil alignment. Power mod against demonic. This one is really nice for farming because there are a lot of enemies with demonic. Not so many enemies have alignment unless it's more like a human. There are some trash mob humans that have just the evil alignment, but I think they're from like Shinjuku, which again makes sense why they would be evil alignment. This is a nice part though. If only a single enemy is alive on the field, MP damage goes up by 50%. Is this going to match the damage of like a single target MP? I do not think so. Okay. Misclick. Big misclick. All right. But let us check. I have not been checking this place in a while. It feels like. So, King Ashoka. Including single enemy MP. Oh. Okay. So, this number is what he hits for a single target, not what he hits AoE. I do not agree with them showing it like this. I really don't agree with them showing it like this. I would imagine his MP damage is a lot closer to Vitra's then, without the 50% MP damage. Yeah, I do not compare Ahsoka to these 5 stars, like specifically in saying this is single target. This is him with 50% MP damage. Uh, Again, he's probably closer to Percival and Melt, if I had to take a guess. And then in comparison to a single target, he's hitting about 30,000 MP1. That's damn near the bottom. So the way you really should be thinking about his MP is not that, oh, he's a replacement to a single target. It's more that if he happens to be hitting people that are by themselves, he's just going to do more damage. But you should not be. This is not like Bargus where it switches her MP type to single target. This is still an AoE MP. You just have 50% MP damage. So by default, the scaling for it is just going to be worse than a single target. It's just a fact. Single target scaling has a higher base number, aka what everything multiplies into. Like literally everything multiplies to the base number. while MP damage is an additive part of the formula that goes in with power mods, and crit damage. Uh, it's oversaturated. Uh, Especially if you are fighting a demonic evil alignment servant, you're not going to notice the difference that much. It even shows like in the damage here. Wrong one. Okay, yeah, it shows here that like assuming the base number is like 20,000, um, we have like 110% power mod going on. So yeah, like this is not super effective. So if the base number is like 20,000, uh, and right here is like 41,000, that is a 2.1 time 2.05 uh with some rounding error, so like 2. So about 2.5. Yeah. Yeah. I again, I have not like fully done the math on it, but just like based on how the numbers work, like this should be around 20,000. Uh yeah. So not he's not like breaking the mold that much. If you have Percival, you're going to be using Percival in farming. I definitely see his presence way more in multi-core and CQs, especially because the last part of the effect is defense down. Can't say no to that. That just works really nice in the formula. Mat's to level, not terrible. This is OC2, so just be aware of that. This is a storm pod mat, so again, this is not going to take you that long to farm out. Bod CE, power mod against evil, power mod against demonic. So, I think this is just a decent servant added to the pool. Do you need to get this character? Absolutely not. He's definitely not breaking the mold. You are not going to be using for farming over Percival, over Ritra, over Melt. But for multi-core, you would definitely use him over Melt because he's not going to screw over your DPS like Melt would. But again, even Melt depends on the node. Your allies might not need to MP. All right. FGO, Theory restart, then HSR when I come back from dinner with my family. All right, peace chat. See you later. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.